All right, I think we're back now. Like I said, I'm not sure why it's being a little goofy there. Almost like my mic is wigging out. I'm gonna check it out and see. And if it is, I guess we'll just use my headset audio instead of my mic. Audio is good. Okay, because I reset a few things. Awesome. So here we go. Wilson up in first, in number 20 machine. Tolmick in second, in the pit lane right now. Mitrovic in third. Fraser in fourth. We're gonna jump on board with each one of these drivers. Looks like Patrick Mitrovic's going down the straightaway here, and we're gonna give a ride on board with his gyro, so we can see the beautiful streets of Chicago here. And while we do so, we're going to take a look at our race info today. It's a bright, sunny looking day out in Chicago. Race, obviously, always brought to you by Soapbox Painting Co. We're in the streets of Chicago right now. It's not 135 laps. That is wrong. We are doing 40 laps, if I am correct. And we are going to be driving around in 85 degree track temp and 76 degree air temp, 53% humidity, 2% wind, which doesn't make a huge difference with these cars. But this track temp being 85, that's a nice cool track, so we should see drivers having an easier time getting this car around the track than if it was, you know, let's say 100 and 120. We saw that at Watkins Glen not too long ago, but that was around 120 degrees, and these guys are a lot better, you know, on a cooler track on these road conditions. We're going to be getting underway here shortly. We're 7 minutes into qualifying. We're going to jump on board here with Corey Buchanan. And here we go. The Windy City 96 is the name of our race here. Corey touching the wall there, it looked like. That's going to be an automatic disqualification from Quali on that lap at least. We're going to check out TJ Handley here, see how he's doing. Looks like a different paint from him this week. TJ in the 08 machine. TH Designs with that retro kind of Miami 80s look. That, what do we call it, like a synth kind of look, the pink and blue kind of fade and with the gradients. A beautiful little color scheme there. We'll look at Justin Potts coming down the straight here. Let's see what he's able to finish with. Justin Potts comes across. He is in 6th place. He's back by 3.8 seconds. Wilson with a scorcher of a lap. Coffee is even 1.3 behind. Let's see who else is out on the track right now. Tommy Thompson, that shiny Indian machine. It's hard to see his number, but yeah, he is in at number 7, and it is a beautiful day out here in Chicago. You see a lot of sun shining off the cars. Very cool Indian design there. Yeah, everybody did show up for Daytona. I will say that we had a lot of people that showed up for Daytona. I think we had close to 40. We were actually afraid that we were gonna have too many people trying to show up for the league races, but we have simmered down. You know, Daytona is always a different kind of race. Everybody can just put their foot down. Mile and a half's a lot more skill, a lot more tire management, not a lot more managing, you know, your lines and, you know, who's around you. When it comes to the super speedways, though, people like to just put the foot down, show up, and you know, don't really have to do a whole lot except for keep the cars in front of you. The 2007 Daytona finish. You're not out on track right now, so I guess I'll check when you do get on track, as we have Thompson coming across the line. And not sure he got a lap in without touching the wall, so that will mean he does not have a qualifying lap. 18 drivers in the session, only 10 people have thrown in a qualifying lap, and we are coming to the end of qualifying right now. So 10 people qualified, the rest are gonna start wherever they land. And here we go, lap 040. We have a stage at 20 laps, and once again, the race is brought to you by Soapbox Painting Co. And TH Designs, that is made by TJ Hanley. And TJ can help you out with anything, iRacing Designs, Soapbox Painting Co. Anything in Wisconsin, they can paint it. So they are more than willing to help. We have Wilson leading us, Coffee in second, Buchanan in third, Hanley in fourth, Flowers in fifth, Potts in sixth, Mitrovic in seventh, Guiman in eighth, Tolmick in ninth, Frazier in 10th, Buck in 11th, Miller in 12th, Thompson in 13th, Kreuzer in 14th, Mull in 15th, Roberts in 16th, Steele in 17th, Cleland in 18th, and Curtis Rogers in 19th. I believe this is Curtis's first week over from the Road League, the IFL. And we've had a couple drivers come over from there. Now, Frederick Larson is another one. He is missing today. I'm sure he's kicking himself for missing the last road race of the season. And because that's his specialty. He would love to be on track running the road. Here we go. We're going to get pacing going. I believe we only do one pacing lap here at Chicago. There's a little bit longer of a lap. While they pace. Doesn't look like a huge field here, but 18 drivers, 19 drivers on track. We are going to have a good time today here in the Windy City. Alex Coffey and Blaine Wilson are going to lead us to the charge. There they go. Sound is a little far off, but that's all right. Hopefully we don't pile up under the pacing lap. That would be something. Not as bad as Martinsville. We all remember Martinsville. 24 cautions and 250 laps. Being a road course, we have the caution limit up for this week, so we are probably not going to see as many cautions, but you know, don't put it past getting a yellow on the first lap, getting a yellow on turn one. It's a very tight course here, seeing as it is on a street course. The walls are just very claustrophobic, I'll say. It makes you feel like you don't have nearly as much room to maneuver, and truthfully, you don't have any runoff areas. You have a couple, like we see there on the left side where the NASCAR sign is, but you can't just run off the track like at Watkins Glen. In a couple areas, they don't have big runoff areas anywhere. It's just a lot of walls. So if you mess up, you're damaged. You're bouncing back onto the track. You're gonna have you know, a bad time if you end up smacking the wall, but we will see where everybody ends up. At the end of this race, 40 laps, not a ton of laps, but for a road course, you know, the road racing is a little bit longer. Laps are going to be a little bit higher than our average laps. So we can expect, you know, around that hour and a half to 2 hour race. Oh no, it's showing somebody crash. Who crashed? In the back. We're having people bumping, slowing down too much. They're already almost qualifying for a caution here. 8 incidents right now, and we're on the formation lap. It's going to be a heck of a race. Look how tight it gets right here. You can barely fit 2 cars side by side comfortably. Especially when you're going full speed. Blaine Wilson, though, is going to have our green flag. Pace cars enter the pits. Blaine Wilson is ready. And lights are green. There he goes. Blaine Wilson gets a good jump, but Alex Coffey is right there side by side with him. We're going to go into turn number 1, 2 wide. Corey Buchanan sticking his nose in there. He holds it. Number 34, Bobby Blowers, is right behind him. And as we look farther back, everybody seems to get through that first corner all right. Blaine Wilson trying to get some space from Alex Coffey. Corey Buchanan a little bit behind these two teammates. Wilson and Coffey going to try and work their way away from the field. And you see, they're just flying right now, really pushing those cars into the corners. Corey Buchanan at the front of the line of cars behind him, but he's even putting a gap right now. Great job by Buchanan to get off to a great start. Blowers in 4th, just going to try and hang on here. And a little farther back, Lily Frazier, Tommy Thompson, Raymond Mull. I think we're going to have a 3 wide, maybe going into a corner here. Looks like TJ Hanley has crashed. Potts. Yeah, here we go. We're going to have our first caution. Tommy Thompson in the middle of the track. Here we go. And it did not throw a caution. There we go. I'm not sure why the software was not throwing a caution. It's very odd. Very, very odd indeed. The software didn't throw it, and I didn't. I wasn't even able to throw it unless I did it very manually. So we are gonna get our caution. A couple cars gonna come in. You know, lap 1 gets a little crazy here. And we're gonna give, I don't know if my computer's wigging out and that's why I had audio issues. We're gonna give everything here on the control side a little bit of a reset. And we are gonna be pacing here. Yeah, Tommy Thompson though, going sideways in the middle of the track. Let's see if we can't jump to what happened here. We have TJ Handley going into the corner here, just I think overcooks it and just locks him up, smacks the wall. And then Tommy Thompson behind him just is sideways in the middle of the corner. Doesn't have anywhere to go. He's just trying to get out of the way. People are trying to go around in front. People are trying to go around on the inside. And just, once again, no caution was thrown. Software was bugging out. Might have been the same thing that was bugging out my mic. But another car going off right there. Yeah, it was definitely in need of a caution. But we are under the caution now. We'll see what happened with Mull here. I think this might have been, yep, this was the Tommy Thompson incident. Thompson just locks him up, spins it in his Indian machine there. This is Rodney Roberts in the 12 machine crashing. Oh, that's going right into all of that. We'll see Zachary Steele. And this is going into that incident as well. And showed he crashed, but he didn't actually crash. Get back live though with everybody so we don't miss any of the action. Blaine Wilson still out front, Coffee in second, Buchanan in third. They held very well in their 1, 2, 3 respective positions. Bobby Blowers goes up 1 spot, Mitrovic's up 2 spots in 5th, Potts in 6th. We have our big loser right now is TJ Hanley down 13 positions. Not sure if he's going to be able to get out back on track or if he is just done for the day. His front end is still off. He's still getting repairs. He might have had his fast repair box not checked when he teleported back to the pits or when he drove it back to the pits, but lights are out on the pace car, so we will be going green at the end of this lap. See the pace car pulling to the pits here shortly. David Guiman is back 6 positions, and Martin Tolmick right behind him is also back 6 positions. They are not having a good time. The biggest winner right now is 6 positions up, Raymond Mull Sr. In the 18 machine. Him doing a little bit of weaving there, trying to get some heat into these tires. The only bad thing is that you don't really, at these low speeds that the pace cars go, you don't get enough speed to get that heat into the tires. You always help if you can get 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour. The faster the better while you're doing these these weaves down the straight, just so then you can get that heat built up. But yeah, without the speed, it doesn't really make too much of a difference in the sim. When it comes to real life, the pace cars go a lot quicker, and you're able to get that speed built up quite a bit. My brakes said no, he says. And there goes pace car down to the pits. Wilson will have our start. Single file this time. And oh no, 18 is off the road. He goes down in the pits. I'm not sure what that was about. Raymond Mull is something happened. He's just sitting there. Wilson gets going. Sorry, I was watching Mull in the background. Wilson gets going. He's off to a great start. Alex Coffey right there with him. Corey Buchanan on the inside of Blowers. Blowers goes wide, has that little bit better of a release, but Buchanan does have the inside. Buchanan and Blowers going at it here early on. Wilson and Coffey going by there. Buchanan, Blowers. Blowers has won our only other road race at Watkins Glen. And he had a crazy pit stop strategy that ended up working for him. He's able to save some fuel and make it happen, but we'll see if he can do that again. Corey Buchanan, great pace. Not far off the leaders here. And really, it could come down to the leaders just making a little mistake. Road courses are a lot more difficult in these stock cars, as you can hear them bottoming out just going through that section. Corey Buchanan almost loses it right there, keeps it on the road. And Corey is trying to get this thing under control. You can see all the bouncing going on from these cars. It's not a nice street, the Chicago road course here. It's not nice to drivers, I'll say that. You're bouncing, you're jumping, you're moving. So we have a side-by-side Mitrovic and number 8 of Noah Miller. And Miller gets by Mitrovic. The 01 of Justin Potts might also get by him here. Does not look like it. Mitrovic's trying to get his nose back in there. And ooh, a little bump there. Noah Miller gets bumped. A couple drivers, they're still going. Surprised, but they are still going. Just a couple little bumps. And it shows Raymond Mull Sr. has crashed again. Not sure what's going on with Raymond right now. He went off right before the green flag, and I'm not sure why. He just like smacked the wall, flew into the pits, and it looks like he's just kind of trucking along here, having a little bit of a rough go. It's in the way here of Tommy Thompson. Oh, somebody smacked the wall. Looks like that is George Buck back there, and he's off the track. Not enough for us to trigger our safety car, however. George Buck is jumping to the pits. A lone crash isn't going to trigger a safety car. Wilson and Coffee putting a little bit of a gap on Blowers and Buchanan. Blowers by Buchanan now. We must have missed that. Buchanan trying to keep this car under control. You can see him just flying around. That rear end is really starting to kick out on him there, and we'll see as these tires really warm up and they get into that nice temperature window, we'll see a little bit better traction. But these bumps, man, you can see him just up and down and up and down and up and down. Cars everywhere are going to have grip issues when you're hitting these bumps. You can just see, if you look up along the wall, just how uneven that line is. We look down the straight here, bunch of cars coming down. It's a beautiful scene down the straightaway here in Chicago. It looks like David Guiman crashed. His front end is completely ripped off. And we'll see what happened with David here. And he just didn't have a front end to begin with from an earlier crash, and he... Oh, Mull behind him crashes, and then Guiman just locks it up. We jump back to live. Wilson under pressure from Coffee. Number 54 machine not going to give him an easy time. Teammates, yes, but competitors, they're both gonna fight. It's something that they both like doing. Ooh, Coffee right on the rear end there. Wilson, if you're not careful, he might turn his teammate. And Blowers and Buchanan they're 7 and 9 seconds behind, but that doesn't mean a whole lot in these road courses, because it takes so long to get yourself going again. Mull seems to be having some kind of issue. I'm not sure what is going on. It's almost like his wheels like wigging out on him, or something's going on. But I would only expect Mull to maybe retire. Buck is getting going again after his huge crash into the wall, just head on. Looks like Richard Kreuzer also having some trouble here. Just a few moments ago. Let's look at Richard Kreuzer and see what happened here. A little bit of the tighter section, and doing a little bit of Tokyo drift here. And he's just trying to get his car spun around. Those tires are going to be hot, though. He's going to have a hard time keeping it straight. As we check in with our leaders, Wilson and Coffee. Wilson just holding Coffee at bay for the moment. Flowers and Buchanan pretty neck and neck too. Buchanan not really falling too far back. He's had a couple issues with just the stability of the car. You can see as they're coming through these sections here just how bumpy it is and how bouncy the car is. And that seems to be the only thing that Buchanan's having a hard time with. Buchanan, a good jump there. Blowers looked like he might have had a little bit of a loose rear end, but we're expecting that as the first half of the race goes on. Not sure how many laps we're going to get on a single tank of gas, but we will jump to our pit strategies. And it looks like everybody obviously is still on that first set of tires and first set of... Sorry, my camera went a little crazy. First set of tires, first tank of fuel. So we'll see how long that tank of fuel can get us. And then we'll kind of calculate off of that and see where we're going to end up when it comes to... our race strategy. Ooh, wow, Blowers really into the wall. Just smacks the wall and just keeps going. I mean, not a ton of damage, so I guess he can keep trucking. But you can see these guys. For those who are not road racers, the brakes are going to be red hot, and the car is going to be shifting an awful lot. So right now, second gear up into third gear for Corey here in just a moment. Third gear here. You're shifting up, you're shifting up, you're shifting down then. Not only to keep your car from blowing up, but it actually slows the car down quite a bit when you shift. A lot of people are using that as a way to help slow themselves down. Richard Kreuzer And you can tell who does road racing and who doesn't. These angles on some of these turns, real shallow. Guimond off the track again. He just resets. He probably spun right there. But Blaine Wilson and Alex Coffey seem like they know what they're doing. TJ Hanley wrecks. Oh, somebody behind him wrecked too. Richard Kreuzer. Yep. Oh, his tire is pointing to the right. That is not supposed to do that, sir. You should probably come into the pits and get that checked out. Gonna be a hard time trickling his way back to the pit lane. He's got a little ways to go before he gets there. And there are cars behind him trying to catch up. But I mean, everybody's still on the main lap up to position number 14. So Richard Kreuzer, who has that bent up tire, everybody is on that main lap, hasn't been lapped yet. George Buck, Guimond, Mull, Roberts, and Rogers are the ones that have not. Ooh, Kreuzer again into the wall. Kreuzer's car is going to look like he got done with the demo derby by the time he's done. He's got to have to go into the pits, get a tire change, and get a quick, fast repair, and get his car back pointing in the right direction. Richard Kreuzer into the pits now. You can see him there in the background. Kreuzer coming down pit lane, get those tires pointing the right way, get some fuel, get some tires replaced, and we'll move on from there. Hopefully that helps him with some new tires. You know, he gets some cooler tires on there. We don't like seeing tires being, you know, entirely too hot, because then you start slipping. You want them to get up to temp, but too hot is not good for the car. And like I said, a lot of these guys are pure oval guys, don't do a whole lot of road racing, so these are waters that aren't really explored too much when it comes to you know, doing these turn entries and exits and finding the apex of a turn. It's something that's just a foreign concept to a lot of these drivers. And you see some of the drivers that are, you know, fantastic oval guys that can hold their own, just don't know the dynamics of a road course. You see Guimond again coming out of the pit lane, having a hard time, maybe just waiting for somebody to go. As we have Blaine Wilson and Alex Coffey really pushing the limits of the cars. They are about 15 seconds ahead of Blowers and Buchanan. And there they go through turn one. And as they come through turn one, Blowers and Buchanan coming out of the last turn. And these drivers are going to really, I mean, Blowers isn't beating his car up, but he is touching the wall quite a bit. And I'm not sure if that's going to eventually, you know, come back to bite him if he bends that quarter panel in and, you know, give himself some damage. It's not entirely relying on aerodynamics like it would be at like a Daytona or any other super speedway, but the drivers here are, you know, reliant on their car being in one piece. And we do have Coffey just got by Blaine Wilson here, and Coffey is now in the lead of the race. Let's take a look at that replay really fast. This is Coffey making the pass down on the inside of Blaine Wilson, and he gets it done. Blaine Wilson tries to do the switchback and just gives him a little tap on the rear, and he can't really do anything about it. He'll probably try and make a move back here once they come down that long straightaway. Those heavy braking zones are where you want to make those passes. And we have Justin Potts, who has crashed. He's in 6th, losing his hood. Let's take a look here, see what happened to Justin Potts. Once again, one of these big heavy braking zones. Oh yeah, right into the tire barrier. Loses that front. Wasn't the hood, it was the front bumper there. He can continue on, but that's going to be a little bit of an aerodynamic nightmare going on. Low Country Racing says, let's go 10, 11, and 4. And that would be our favorite admin team. 11 of Dakota Cleland. Patrick Mitrovic over here. And then number 10, David Guimond. I don't think David's on the admin team. The other part of the admin team is Corey Buchanan up here, running fourth, doing a fantastic job. Really pushing that car to the limit to keep up with Blowers. Blowers is no pushover, but we're starting to get some cars coming in for their scheduled pit stops. Noah Miller, Dakota Cleveland, Richard Kreuzer. Ah, there we go. Yeah, 19. They're all coming. Richard Kreuzer has been in. Dakota Cleveland, though, in for his stop. And this is putting us at 10 laps, 11 laps here before we need a pit stop and a tire change. So that's going to be, you know, the initial tires, an 11 lap stint, an 11 lap stint, an 11 lap stint, and then that'd be an 8 lap to finish it. Really a 7. So you could try and make those tires work a little bit longer, or you can get, you know, a little bit less out of them and just push that last stint at 7. Hope for a caution. We'll be seeing our stage here in about 8 laps time when we hit lap 20. We have Blaine Wilson crashed is what it says. I don't believe Blaine would have crashed. He has. Blaine Wilson did crash. Let's see. It just gets stuck like that. That's weird. But when Blaine Wilson touches the wall, oh, just a lock up there, and Alex Coffey already a little ways ahead there, getting around some of the back markers. Blaine does tap the wall ever so slightly. Coffey once again trying to get by some of the lap traffic. Tommy Thompson here gets over to the side. Now he's got Blaine Wilson coming up behind him. I believe that's George Buck in front of him as well. Justin Potts and Lily Frazier. It's showing Potts a little bit of wall riding there. Oop, Lily Frazier, no real damage, so maybe they just you know, slid off the track or slowed down a little too much, bumped the wall. It's reporting nose. Guimond, he is stopped and off the track. Yep. And they are going again. Flowers up in the second, Coffey. Flowers up in the first. Coffey in, Wilson in, and Buchanan in for their scheduled pit stops. Frazier has crashed again, it says. Lily Frazier in the pits for their scheduled pit stop. She is, I want to say, teammate of Bobby Blowers. She's out of the car, though. Maybe Lily Frazier did. Yeah, she did jump to the pits. Let's see what crash happened here. Corey Buchanan out of the pits. Quick pit stop for Corey. Oh, brakes locked up. She smacked the wall and just right to the pits. But right now, Bobby Blowers. Bobby Blowers is coming up to the end of his abilities to make this car keep running on the very little fuel that he has. Lap number 13 here. And if he can get 13 laps, TJ Hanley having a rough go. Looks like he came together. Oh wow, TJ Hanley is sideways. Let's see what happened to TJ. He's been driving around like that, it would seem. Oh no, and Corey Buchanan crashed. See what happened here. Buchanan trying to keep it steady. Brand new tires out of the pit, so they're going to be a little cold, and he just, ooh, into the wall. And there goes his front left. That's going to be a big blow for Corey, because him and Blowers were fighting real hard. Let's jump up to real time with Corey. His car is going to be having a hard time getting around, and here he comes down into the pits. Going to get his fast repair done. Might top off a little bit of fuel, and I will say it would be a smart thing to top off fuel, fill up, you know, just push your car to as far as it can go, and then do another You know, don't pit during the stage caution. Get to lap 27, 28, pit then, and then you should be able to get to the end of the race on a full tank of gas. So you're only really doing a 3-stop strategy instead of a full 4-stop strategy. And that will really, that would save you a full stop that you don't have to do, that others are going to have to. And if some of these guys can get that 3-stop strategy to work, you know, that's going to make up a whole lot of ground. I mean, a pit stop is looking like it is about 15 seconds of stationary time plus the pit lane slowdown, which is about another 10. So you're looking at about 25 seconds for a pit stop here. Ooh, somebody into the wall. Dakota Cleland, Corey Buchanan hitting George Buck. George Buck backwards. But that's not going to be enough to trigger us a caution. Some 0X's. Dakota with a 4X. George Buck with a 4. It's not enough to get that caution out. Buchanan, he's still up there. He is still up there, even though he had to come into the pits. He's still in 9th. And he, like I said, with that little bit of an offset on his pit stop, he's going to have an advantage, I think, over everybody else, where he doesn't have to do a 4th pit stop. Or he will do a 4th pit stop. It'll just be it'll be caught up with everybody and do a shortened pit stop, we'll say. Ooh, Buchanan again. Shows Buchanan has crashed. And there he is coming down the straightaway. And it shows TJ Hanley crashed as well. TJ Hanley in that Wreckfest looking car. Corey's dropping back a bit. But you know, you see some of these drivers going 15 laps. Steele with 15 laps on his tank. Blowers 15 laps on his tank. Kreuzer with a crash. He's coming down pit lane again. And all these drivers are going to be a little offset here, a little offset there. Buchanan with that double stop you can see right there. We're going to have some crazy strategies coming to the end of this. Right now, though, Alex Coffey flying out there, setting some scorcher lap times. His best is a 128.12. We'll swap over to our timing tower so y'all can see how far back everybody is. 8 cars on the lead lap. The additional 4 only 1 lap down. And then from 13th on back, they're either out or they're 2 laps down or more. And you can get yourself unlapped. You can be in the lucky dog position. You know, Thompson, Mitrovic, Tolmik, Hanley, they are all in contention for that lucky dog spot, which will shoot them around and get them back onto the main lap. So that'll get us up to 9 cars on the main lap by the time we are done with our first stage. 24 laps to go in the race, but only a 40 lap race. Right now we're 42 minutes into this road race, and these drivers are giving it their all. Richard Kreuzer touching the wall again, just ever so slightly, enough to trigger the crash notification on my software here. And Bobby Flowers is down into the pits now. Elizabeth says, let's go Noah. We'll jump on board with Noah here. Noah in the Tostitos number 8. Got some really cool, different looking, I want to say liveries because I'm a road guy and I follow Formula racing quite a bit. But the paint schemes on the cars here, and Kreuzer just trying to let these two that are fighting, looks like Zachary Steele and Noah Miller are yep, they're both fighting for position. Noah Miller, ooh, Zachary Steele locking up a tiny bit. Miller, ooh, had a lot more speed going into the turn, and you know, Zachary Steele, he's not going to like that his bumper is a little adjacent there. And Miller is just really trying to get by him. Ooh, cut off by Steele. Wow, Steele comes into the pits. He is at the end of his stint. Miller doing a fine job. He pit on lap 11. 6 laps in to his current stint. I can only imagine he's going to pit when the 40 lap or when the 20 lap flag comes out. And that will be a nice little refresh for everybody. So we see Miller. That's a new livery for Miller. Yeah, I think he's got a new one each week. And Noah's cars always look really professionally done. Tostitos, really neat looking. It just reminds me of a bag of Tostitos. Like I just want to go grab some salsa and some cheese, and you know, just chow down on some nachos today. Alex Coffey here, number 54 machine, leading by 4 seconds to his teammate Blaine Wilson. And Blaine is in a different, well, we'll call them liveries for today since we're road racing. Why not? Blaine Wilson in his new number 20 livery, the Sirius XM Radio Camry. He is doing a fine job keeping up with Alex Coffey, which is no easy feat to do. Keeping up with Coffey is very hard. I think it was 12 years that Coffey has been racing in iRacing, according to, I believe it was one of the admins that said that Alex has a ton of experience in the sim, and he is blazing fast. Wilson as well, blazing fast. Not sure about his number of years in the sim, but you know, I mean, the sim's been around for a long time. iRacing's been going for years and years. And here we go. Lap 20 hits. We're doing stage 1 caution. And Alex Coffey right behind the pace car there. Because Corey Buchanan has crashed, which not sure what happened to Corey there as that yellow came out. Ooh, just gets a little loose there. Let's see where he crashes. Ooh, locks it up, and yep, touches the tire barrier. It could be a lot worse. Could be that big old concrete wall to the left of you, Corey. But we should see a lot of people coming down into the pit lane here once they catch up to the pace car, and once the pit lane opens. And I am curious to see who pits and who out of these drivers that just pit are going to stay on out there. Blowers pit 2 laps ago. I can only imagine Blowers is going to stay out there. Coffey is 6 laps in. Wilson 6 laps in to their stints. So it'll be interesting to see if they pit. Miller, Potts, and Cleland all 8 laps into their stint. So they only have, it depends on, no, Blowers ended up getting 17 laps in on his tank, but it depends on their strategy. Some people might be going for the 3 stop, some people might be going for the 4. If Blowers can get 17 laps, you know, 17 after, you know, doing 2 stops, we'll get him there. It's crazy to think. Some people might be doing a 2-stop strategy. Blowers going 17, he would have to pit again on lap, that would be 34, and then just do a quick stint on fresh tires and new fuel if he can do that 17 laps again. Mitrovic did 15 laps, so that'll get him there too. In a 2-stop, you do a 1-stop, 2-stop. And here we go, Coffey. Wilson down in the pits. Blowers, I can only imagine, is going to stay out. Blowers does come down into the pit lane. Miller's going to stay out. I can see that happening too. Oh no, he hasn't even gotten to the pit lane. So wow, everybody coming down into the pits. Cleland down in the pits, Buchanan down, Mitrovic's down. Thompson is going to stay out. He's going to try and get himself unlapped here. And that is going to help him, because he will get waved around. It's going to help him tremendously. It looks like Coffey is going to come up alongside him. Oh man, he's not going to get the wave around. That's That's unfortunate for Thompson. He might get the lucky dog, but he wasn't going to get the natural wave around because his coffee came out of the pits right before he came past the pit lane window. But Blaine Wilson in second, Miller coming out of the pits, Flowers out of the pits, Buchanan is still in the pits here, just coming down pit lane. A lot of traffic. A lot of traffic to get around the track and just get yourself into the pit lane. Potts out of the pit lane. This is really shaking things up. A lot of people came in, but not a lot of people are coming out really quickly. Mitrovic, he's out and on the track in position number 7. Oh, in 8th. Somehow Mitrovic, I am not sure what is going on with my timings. Mitrovic is out on track ahead of Corey Buchanan. Corey Buchanan's in the pits. They're all on the same lap. I'm not sure how that one works out. Cleland's out. And he's ahead of Buchanan, which makes sense. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Mitrovic and Buchanan. Maybe their sensors are off or something. TJ Handley said he crashed just a moment ago. Not sure what's going on with that. Coming out of the pits, maybe. A little bit, count that as a crash? Just the ever so slight little touch? Or is you gonna spin it here? I'm not so sure. Either way, we'll jump on board with the leader here because we should be fairly close to going green again. Yeah, well, lights are out. I mean, we still have people that are in the pits and trying to get out of the pit lane here. Tolmic's in, Buck's in, Kreuser's in. And we're live, we're caught up. These drivers are going to get going here in just a moment. And there we go. Mitrovic is finally ahead of Buchanan on the timing tower. Here comes Buchanan behind him. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, the number 11, number 4, and number 19. They're trying to catch up. Cleland gets right around the corner there as everybody goes green again. Blow. No, Bobby Blowers into turn 1. Just, I don't know what he was thinking. He just sends it. Cleland with a front end that is just completely gone. But Blowers just flying by. A couple 0x taps and Cleland gets a 2x tap there. And that is just crazy to me that happened. Let's see what Blowers did there. I'm not sure what he was thinking. Blowers, they all get going. Cleland trying to catch up to the pack there. You see him in the background. And he just has nowhere to go. He's trying to brake, but there are cars in front of him. You got to brake a little bit earlier when you have a stack of cars in front of him. And then Cleland comes in and just smacks the wall on his own too. So that it was two completely different incidents that happened there, and they were all on their own. So that's unfortunate for Flowers and for Cleland. Thankfully for both of them, these cars don't need a ton of aerodynamics to help with this track, with how blocky and how you know, how rough this track can be and how bouncy it is. Whoa, Noah Miller almost losing the rear end with his cold tires. But yeah, Coffee is going to be right there, right up in front. Wilson right with him, smacking the wall. You know, that's the story of the day. Just give the wall a little kiss just on the way by. Miller holding it together, and Potts, Justin Potts, holding it together as well in the Hunt Brothers Pizza car. That's a newer livery from him as well. Flowers still up there somehow. Not quite sure how he is in one piece. Looks like he might be crabbing the car a little bit. It might be tracking a little bit to his left. Let's ride on board and see if we can't see what he is going through right now in this cockpit. And we'll turn the volume up for this too. We'll let you guys see. And as we jump on to Noah Miller's car, he just spun. So we're going to see what happened there with Miller, and it looks like David Guiman. Let's take a look. Here's Miller coming into the corner here. We saw him having a little bit of stability issue, and he just oversteers it a little bit too much while he gets on throttle, and he's just gonna get himself going again. A little bit of burnout. As he comes down into pit lane, he might be just getting a new set of tires. He might just be trying to go to the end of the race. We have 17 to go. If he can make that 17 work like Blowers did at the beginning of the race, then that will be an amazing feat for him, because then he only has to stop this time and then he's done. Whereas other drivers, Coffee, Wilson, Potts, they're going to have to stop one more time about 5 laps before the race to try and get a good stint done with their final set of tires and with a final load of fuel. So Miller might have lucked himself, you know, by kind of wrecking himself there into a good position. Corey Buchanan is not going to let him have a nice easy run to the line. Buchanan is going to be chasing as much as he can. Buchanan in 6th, Miller in 5th. And number 19 machine, Buchanan's had pretty good control over it. He had a little bit of rough time when he came out of the pits and had some cold tires. We see, looks like, yeah, a little bit of his front right is bent in on that quarter panel. But other than that, you know, a lot of these cars are going to have that just from coming to the corner too hot and bumping the wall. Using that wall is a little bit of a slowdown for themselves. Corey and Noah, both similar on pace. Noah was a little bit slower than Corey in the qualifying, I believe, and in the beginning of the race, but Noah holding his own right now. And they are, I mean, we're pretty spread out. Kreuzer crashes with George Buck. Kreuzer, he's got some major damage. Not sure if he's going to be able to get going. As we have, I believe that might have been Miller going on by. Nope. Kreuzer in the pits. Can't get himself back. As we hop right on board with Coffee here. And Alex Coffee, hometown McDonough, Georgia. Everybody's rookie season here in the Octane Outlaws, like we've said before. Blaine Wilson, teammate, not too far. Blaine always likes to try and give Alex the best competition he can. Looks like Wilson in the pits. This should get him to the end of the race. This is kind of that that Miller strategy I was talking about. How Miller is going to have a little bit of an accidental good strategy. It looks like Blaine Wilson's doing it on purpose. He's giving himself a couple buffer laps, and he'll go in at lap 50, or with 15 laps to go, and get himself his fresh set of tires, his last tires, and his last tank of fuel. Wilson does have Potts in front of him now, but Potts will have to pit, at least for fuel. Maybe not for tires, but for fuel. And Blowers is only 3 seconds back from Blaine Wilson now, so Blowers might be able to make up a little bit of time. This Wilson's going to be on these cold tires. Wilson, ooh, just touching the walls. You know, you got to give it a little bit of time for these tires to heat up. Those wall touches are going to be just as painful as going a little bit slower, but now you're going to have lasting damage throughout the race instead of just a spot where you went a little slow. And Tolmick is off. Looks like he had a little bit of a spin. Martin Tolmick there in the Tabasco machine. Alex Coffey down into the pit lane. Corey Buchanan also in the pit lane, getting his tires and his last fuel. Dakota Cleveland still running around without a front bumper. He's going to have to use that fast repair of his. If he has not, when he comes into the pits for his final pit stop. Bobby Blowers has crashed, it says. Can't tell because he is hidden by the the wind screen there, but let's see, why does it say Bobby Blowers has crashed? Let's take a look. It looks like he blinks just a tiny bit, and ooh, that's why it says he crashed, because he crashed. Now he bumps the inside wall there, bumps the outside wall, and you know, it's just a little bit of a little bump and run there, we'll call it. And it shows Noah Miller also was crashed. What's happened with Noah just recently? I don't like this angle. We're gonna get a different angle. Here we go. Noah Miller coming into the turn. Ooh, just taps the wall. Oh no, he gets caught on the concrete, and he tries to give us some gas to get himself around it, and he just spins himself ever so slightly to get himself over there. That leads us to Justin Potts, who is leading the race at the moment. Oh, don't worry, Kelly. That baby's up there. He's being a good little guy right now. He was sleepy today. He was had a bottle right before I came on down, so he's content up there snuggling with mama. So he's in good hands. Justin Potts, however, in the 01 machine, he is not going to be so content, because he's got Alex Coffey right behind him, and Coffey's going to be breathing down his neck for the lead of this race. Pit strategy. Potts 7 laps ago took his pit stop, so he's going to have to come in one more time, unless he can somehow magically make 20 laps work in this car, which we have not seen any more than 17, and that was by the king of saving fuel, Bobby Blowers, which we saw in Watkins Glen make a strategy like that work. And Blowers does come out of the pits just now. He is currently sitting in 4th, but should make up a ton of time on Wilson and Coffey. And if we have another caution, that will, you know, just put us right there, all together bunched up for an exciting end of the race. I don't want to talk it into happening. I don't want to give it the old broadcaster's curse, but it would make for an exciting race. Coffey, Potts right here. The old Coffee Potts. I know, I'm terrible. I should probably stop announcing altogether after such a bad joke. But Coffey and Potts right here working to try and keep the lead. Potts is going to try and hang him up as much as he can. Wilson in the background is going to try and catch up and give Coffey a little bit of a run for his money. Coffey, though, does get by Potts. I'm not sure if Potts just let him by, but he is pretty far ahead. Mitrovic gets, ooh, a little elbows out there for Mitrovic as he lets Coffey by. But Coffey touching the wall, getting a little dirty on the left quarter panel there. And Potts right behind him, taking a little shallower of an angle. That's why you get that bad exit and touching the wall. But let's ride on board. Alex Coffey's setting some really good laps here. Steele shows he crashed, but he's just going into the pits. Let's ride on board and turn the audio up here for... Ooh, somebody just hit the wall. That's Patrick Mitrovic. Hit the wall here, and he has Blaine Wilson right next to him. Mitrovic might have an engine issue. He got smoke coming out of that car. David Guimond is trying to get around him, but I mean, it's just a roadblock moving at this point. Patrick in 6th place. I mean, that's a good handful of points. Patrick doesn't want to give that up, and he's probably looking to get back to the pit so he can use his fast repair. His front right completely caved in there, just not even moving. And here comes Patrick, getting closer to the pit lane. But Coffey and Potts and Wilson all getting farther and farther away from Mitrovic, who is a lap down to begin with, and into the pits he comes. Mitrovic, let's see if he does have his fast repair. That is a brutal injury to the car there. We also have Zachary Steele that showed as crashed, but I do not see any damage, and it's probably just another wall touch as Coffey gets on by him right there. Mitrovic's coming in. Let's see if that fast repair can be ticked on. If he can salvage his car. Ooh, the car doesn't want to stop for him. Fast repair, hood's on, car's up. Might not be a full fast repair. Looks like he's still got damage on that right front quarter. And his car is still smoking. And it's looking like Patrick might be out of the race here. Or might just have enough damage to keep him in the pits for a little bit. Smoke is gone. Damage is still being repaired. Unfortunate for Patrick Mitrovic there. We have Dakota Cleland getting passed here by Alex Coffey. And Cleland's in 5th place. So Coffey has lapped everybody on the grid up to 5th place. And Potts, we just saw smack the wall pretty hard there. Blaine Wilson getting close to that wall, not smacking it. And then Blowers is not far behind them, coming down the little bit of a hill here. If something happens, you know, it could really make for an exciting end of the race again, like we've seen, you know, many times before. TJ Hanley shows Handley has crashed, but he is in good shape. Buchanan in 6th, taking over the spot from Patrick Mitrovic. Buchanan still has some damage on that front right as he goes a little Tokyo drift in there. TJ Hanley in the pits. And now, like I said before, let's ride on board now and turn the volume up now that we don't have a crash going on. And that is a full lap around Chicago here. And what a view. It's quite a different view from the car here. See all the big tall skyscrapers and the architecture in the background. You see the openness of I believe they go around Grant Park here in Chicago. And it's just, you know, a very bumpy track, as you can see. We've seen it on the broadcast, but we've also seen it on from the car now, and it's just a huge bumpy track. The transitions aren't nice. The being a Chicago native, I do have a lot of info on the streets and the roads going on out here. You know, the winters is really it. You get these big cracks like you see right in the middle of the road here. The winters destroy. Yeah, no for the claustrophobia, that's for sure. The winters destroy the roads quite a bit with all snowfall, the plows going over them. You know, the expansion and contraction of the surfaces. It makes for a bad time for people who have to build new roads and people have to maintain the roads. As oh no, Coffey makes his first mistake of the race, smacks the wall. Wilson, he's gonna be really looking to make a big jump off of that disadvantage for Coffey. Is a little bit of aerodynamics in front are just gonna hurt him. So we might see a drop in lap times, but he took a pretty big hit. That was a big contact into that wall. And it shows Blowers has also crashed. Don't think Blowers has crash. But Coffee, he's going to be trying to get away from Wilson. And we're going to keep track of this. 8 laps to go. Wilson is 10.2 laps back. And I'm sure Coffee's going to try and, you know, make up for his mishap there. But Wilson, as we're going to see him coming around the corner here, Wilson is going to have a better speed down the straightaways because his car is undamaged. And Wilson makes up not a ton of time. He gets down to, you know, that 9-second range. And Coffee's going to be just trying to keep it on track at this point. You know, keeping the car clean. He doesn't want to give up any more time than he needs to his teammate, but you know, you don't want to push it too far and make another mistake. That mistake probably cost him 5 seconds on our timing tower there. And Wilson, you know, he's pushing that car. That's a big lag that we had there. Not quite sure what that was, but Coffee going ahead and just really pushing this car. Flowers, who he did crash again, or at least had enough damage to want to come in and get a quick repair and a splash of gas and get going again. Potts up into third. Can't hear me again. Is it making some weird noises, or am I back? Can you hear me again? I'm hoping that I'm back. I'm just going to continue on as though I am until I hear something different. And we have Justin Potts. Oh no. He goes down into the runoff area. We're going to try and swap around some things here. All right, check 1 2. Are we back quite yet? Canal. Okay, perfect. Great to hear. Justin Potts is still in third. Flowers is a lap down. Buchanan a lap down. Thompson 2. Hanley 2. Cleland is in the pits. He'll be 3. Guimond in 9th. He will be 3 laps down. So it's looking like the first 2 are gonna be the ones on the main lap. Maybe Potts, if he can hold it together here. He's had a little bit of a mishap, but if we look at the track, let's see if our track temperatures have changed at all. And it does look like our track has ramped up in temperature quite a bit. We started off at 85 and now we are up to 98. We're almost up to 100 degrees, so that's a huge temperature difference from the beginning of the race to where we are now. And you know, the weather hasn't changed. Weather temperature has been the same. The humidity has been the same. It's just been a huge jump in the temperature on track. So these cars warming up the track. The cars are, you know, not just warming up the track, but putting more rubber down on the track. It's going to make it easier to grip with that little bit more rubber. But on top of that, with all the heat, it just makes those tires oilier and that surface a little oilier, and it's going to make them slip and slide around, and it's not going to be good for consistent racing. As we see Justin Potts just a little bit squirrely coming out of that turn. He's in third. He's going to want to hang on to that as much as he can. But he is, I mean, he's got a short little run going here. He came into the pits not long ago, maybe 2-3 laps ago. And Potts is definitely he's gonna be looking at a podium here as long as he can hold it together. So that'd be I think the first podium for Potts. As Coffee doing a fantastic job up front. as we have Let's Go 54, Let's Go number 20 in the chat. Alex Coffee, Blaine Wilson getting cheered on. I'm sure Wilson would like to be a little bit closer, but Coffee just doing a fantastic job running these cars at their peak level. And Coffee just has to be careful that he does not... Ooh, as he gets a little squirrely trying to take that inside line past Guimond. Guimond is in 8th right now. And he has lapped him twice? Not only are there only 3 people on the main lap, but there are only 2 people that are a lap down. The rest are 2 or more laps down, which is just crazy to me. Coffee doing a fantastic job here. I think Guimond was having a little issue there. Heard a little bit of car action there. Man from Leominster, Mass. Donna, Georgia for Alex Coffee, though. He is just running away with it. Let's go down through our field, see how everybody is doing on this fine Chicago day with 4 laps to go. Flowers is sitting in 4th. Not a bad run from him. He had a few mistakes, but he is doing fine overall. We'll say he's going to be kicking himself for a couple of those mistakes, but you know, a 4th place finish is nothing to be sad about. Corey Buchanan, he was right up there in that 3rd place spot. He has dropped back to 5th, couple laps down, or 1 lap down, and he's got that little bit of damage. Just a couple of things that he could have buttoned up, I think, to keep his car going in the right direction. And you know, if he doesn't touch the wall a couple times, who knows, maybe he's fighting for that 3rd place spot with Potts, because he certainly had the pace of Potts and Blowers and of Miller, you know, some of the faster guys out there. So really, it's sad to see that Corey was not able to get up where he wanted to be today on that podium. TJ Hanley, we've seen him running around with no front bumper. He's got one on now. The team reattached it at some point throughout his pit stops. But TJ sitting in 6th, which is not bad. Tommy Thompson, the shiny Indian machine here, holding on to 7th place in the 7 machine. Dave Guimond in the 8th right now. Cleland in the pits, probably gonna have to do a quick splash and dash. Does not look like he's crashed anytime in the last few laps. But Martin Tolmick, he's also in. Mitrovic and Kreuzer in. A lot of people in the pits right now getting a splash and dash, or just trying to, you know, get repaired until the end of the race. 2 laps to go. Alex Coffee out in front. And he is, like I said, just running away with it. Even pulling away from 2nd place with damage on his car. I will say that. He smacked the wall pretty hard. Had a lockup. Has damage on his car. And he is still throwing down some really crazy lap times here. Best one being a 127.42. Blaine Wilson, a 128.2. And then Justin Potts is the only other close one with a 129.7. Which is about 2 seconds off of the fastest of Coffee, which is crazy to think that there is a 2-second gap from the 1st place to the 3rd place, or the 4th place car. Just crazy to think. Wilson really pushing, trying to catch up, but I think Coffee might have this one in the bag. Potts, we're hoping that he can just keep it clean to the end. We're going to check in again. Cleland's still in the pits. Mitrovic's still in the pits. Kreuzer's still in the pits. They're just getting lapped. I mean, it might just end with them being in the pits. A couple of guys trying to make up some positions on them, though. You know, Martin Tolmick might be able to get ahead of Cleland if he can complete the last couple laps here behind Coffee. Final lap for Coffee as he comes into turn number 2, going up 12 turns. This road course we got here in Chicago. I should say that it's not a road course, it's a street course, to be technical about it, because we are on the streets of Chicago. It's a paved surface that gets used every day, and we have the nice concrete walls that Kelly so finally put as claustrophobic. When you're on the track, you're trying to, you know, push the car to its limits. There's no limit like a wall. So As, ooh, we got a little, little loose, little lock up there. Coffee knows he just got to keep it going. Get to the end of this lap, and he's got himself another win. A smack into the wall from the Interstate Toyota. He's just coasting along. He knows he's going to get there in the end. He'd rather get there safely than not at all. Ooh, flying around. I don't know if he's going for a hot lap or what he's doing. He's flying though. And we have our checkered flag out. Ooh, little bit of drift in there. And he will take home the win. Alex Coffey dominating this race. Him and teammate Blaine Wilson 1-2 yet again. Fantastic drive from both these drivers. Cedar Rapids, Iowa is happy tonight for Blaine and teammate Alex. And right now, I think it's a lock because everybody else is a lap down at least. Blowers is already finished. And that's locked in. The Potts is the only one that hasn't finished. So Potts coming across here in just a moment. And he will be in third place. Finish about a minute 17 behind, maybe a little bit more from Alex Coffey. But Potts doing a fantastic job of overcoming. I know he had a couple little hiccups here and there, but keeping clean is the name of the game when it comes to these street courses. You can keep out of trouble and you can keep out of everybody else's way. You'll have a heck of a time. I'm not sure if we'll get some donuts here from Alex. Alex is not got a whole lot of room to do them. Being so claustrophobic, I'm not quite sure what he'll do, if he'll just do a victory lap like this and come on in, or what will have happen. And here he comes down the straightaway. Let's see if he decides to do some donuts or not. He's just gonna keep doing laps. He's just going and going and going. Let's see if we can't get him into the broadcast booth here and get an interview going with him and the other drivers. And right now nobody's in any of the chats. We'll see if anybody jumps on in and joins us for a quick chat. As we look at the beautiful fountain in, I want to say it's Grant Park, downtown Chicago. There you see the beautiful skyline. That's what Chicago is known for. That and their Italian beefs and hot dogs. But that will be for the celebrations after the race. Right now we don't have anybody in the interview room except for Blaine Wilson. So we're going to hop on board with Blaine Wilson here and give a quick chat with him. Blaine, do I have you down in the car?
Yes, sir.
So a fantastic race overall, I think, by everybody, but a couple little mishaps during the race for you. What would you have liked to change to try and come out, a little bit closer to your teammate Alex Coffey there coming into the end of the race?
Well, this is one of the road course tracks that I actually enjoy running, street course here. It's pretty fun. It's very rhythm based, momentum based, and if you step out of your rhythm for even a hair of a second, it ruins your lap and you can get into the wall very easily. It's a very tight track as well. So I came in here hoping to get top 5, and we got second by a mile, so I will gladly take that. The car's definitely beat up. but that's all right. We're still second place, so a successful night all the way around.
Yep. Yeah, you and teammate Alex. Alex was flying. He was real quick, but he even as the leader, like you said, got out of his rhythm for just one lap, and he ended up smacking the wall just a little bit, and he had some damage he was dealing with, but he still was able to put down some scorcher laps there at the end. But speaking of scorching, the track ended up getting over 100 degrees by the end of the race. We started around 85. Did you guys feel that on the track? Just that higher temperature starting to creep up on you?
Yeah, you could feel it. I mean, not only that, but the mixture of the damage that I accrued over the length of the race started to make an impact. I was a lot looser in and out of the corner, a lot harder to get drive off towards the end of the run. So you definitely had to adjust your driving style through the race too. So uh, probably mostly for me at least because of damage, but you could definitely feel the track warming up a little bit too.
Yep, yeah, and we saw a lot of drivers towards the end of the race, a lot more start touching the wall and, even just going full speed into a corner and locking up their brakes. We saw it on the restart from Blowers, came flying through and locked his brakes. Wasn't expecting, I don't think, a couple of the other drivers to brake as soon as they did, and, just he had damage, had to pit. A lot of drivers had to come in and pit and get their fast repair out of the way fairly quick, so we'll be looking at some of the the damage-free races going forward and, counting our blessings with those. But a lot of drivers are going to be happy that we're gone and out of Chicago. But before we let you go for this week, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to Alex, the teammate. I figured he'd come in here and be very quick. We held on to him there. I think if I didn't have damage, it was a combination of damage and pit strategy. We were running pretty close lap times, but there was a few laps he was about a second faster than me and started to pull away. So it's good to keep up with him. He's taught me a lot, especially on road courses too. So good to see him get a win here finally. I know it's taken a little bit. He got the Martinsville one, but had to work pretty hard for this one. We'll make sure he works hard for the next one too. So we won't let it happen twice. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're going to be going next week. We'll be at Bristol. So Bristol is going to be a short course, and then we go to Talladega. So then we have big super speedway, and then Pocono to end it. So we've got a couple 3 unique tracks to go. It's not another mile and a half yet on the schedule until next season's run. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out and how standings end up playing out, and we'll get some more of them graphics up for those as the season comes to a close to see who exactly is going to be taking home our season 1 trophy. But other than that, I will leave you to it, Blaine. Go celebrate with the team, and we'll catch you hopefully again next week.
Yeah, appreciate you. Take care.
All right, that was Blaine Wilson, everybody. We're going to hop on board with Justin Potts here, our 3rd place contender. And I have Justin here now. Justin, do we got you down in the car?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Awesome racing there, Justin. A 3rd place. Everybody likes to get on that podium. What were you trying to do there at the end? The track temps creeped up quite a bit, so we had a lot of people slipping and sliding around. What were you doing at the end to try and just solidify your podium position that you had there?
Pretty much just keep it clean. I bumped in the wall a few times, but luckily not too bad of damage. Obviously when I knew when Coffee and Wilson pitted, I stayed out just to get some laps led, and then when Coffee eventually caught up to me, I knew it was gonna be all right. But I'll take a top 3 out of Chicago. I needed this bounce back from the rest of the season.
Yep, yeah, we've seen you up near the leaders a couple times, and just some unfortunate mishaps during the races, and just some wrecks happening, some unfortunate strategies that play out. But we're glad to see you up on a podium today. We're going to be going to Bristol next week. What's the strategy going into there, being such a short It's a short, long track, kind of.
Well, as of right now, I don't know if I'll be able to make it just because I don't own it, but obviously we'll see within the next week. Next race that I plan on making is Talladega, which is going to be a little hectic, but if I make it to Bristol, just obviously it's going to be fast, going to be pretty quick. Just got to keep it on track. Hopefully don't get in too many wrecks.
Well, we hope to see you out there at Bristol. If not, then we'll catch you in Talladega, and we hope that we'll be able to speak to you then in the celebration booth here. Do you guys do you have any shout outs that you want to give to the team or anybody back home?
Just want to shout out everyone at Octane, obviously, for allowing me to race. TJ, obviously, this Hunt Brothers car that I ran tonight. He's the one that made it. Pretty much just everyone. Can't wait for the next few races.
All right, Justin. Well, it was great talking to you. We'll leave you to celebrate with the team, and we hope to see you up here in the booth again before the season ends.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, now we're going to go on to Alex Coffee. Alex, got you down there in the car.
Yes, sir.
Alex, what a fantastic race you had. You were just, fire out there today. Just setting some scorching laps, pulling away from even teammate Blaine. 18-second ahead win. And that's even with smacking the wall there at the end and having to get going again, which took about 5 seconds off your time. So you took this one by a mile. What went into the strategy for everything, and what did you feel in the car? Was the car just dialed in, or is a road course like this, a street course, one of your specialties?
Yeah, I just like technical road courses like this and Sonoma and those type of tracks. But it was a different setup than I was expecting. But the setup allowed you to feel the bumps a little more and feel what the car was doing. So yeah, just felt pretty good after a few laps. First few laps was slick, and then throughout the race was getting slicker. I had a lock up, but it's kind of hard when you got no runoff spot with a lockup like that. It's either let off the brakes and still have high speed, or lock them down and not get slowed down enough. So I just tried to hit some aggressive downshifts and lock them down, and still wasn't enough. Still got the wall pretty good, but thankfully we didn't have a meatball flag, so that was my main concern. I thought I hit it enough to where I was gonna have to come in and get a fast repair, but guess I didn't hit it as hard as I thought I did, so that was good. Yeah, shout out to my mom for watching. Shout out to Blaine. I think if I would have hit that wall and Blaine would have had a clean car, he probably could have ran me down. But we had the about the same amount of front damage, I think, at that point. So I had a little bit of a buffer there, thankfully. And shout out to everybody that works to put the league on every week. Shout out to you for broadcasting, and everybody showed up. I know this ain't everybody's favorite track, but we had a pretty good sized field out there, so that's always good to see. I know it's pretty rough on right front, so we'll just try to be smooth and consistent there, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You have a good one.